Welcome to Hello Blackbird. My name is Delana. I'm really happy you're here and I hope you'll stick around because today's video is all about how to make 2 at a time half square triangles with your string blocks. Now the next part of this video gets a bit detailed, but that's because there are certain things we need to consider when we're working with strings. So have a look at the next bit, and then afterwards I'm going to show you the project that I'm currently working on with these strings and what I've got sewn up so far. So today is all about, I've made a lot of string blocks. As you can see, I have one here. They finish at 10 inches. They are right now 10.5 inches, but I'm going to cut them down even smaller. So what I have decided to do is I'm going to cut them down to 5 1/4, halfway in the middle, at the halfway point in the middle. So it doesn't matter what size your block is. If you want to do it like I'm doing it, cut them halfway across the middle vertically and halfway across the middle horizontally. For you this is vertically, for me horizontally. Right. So now I have these 4 blocks. What I like about this is that you get a little bit more variation when you cut them down. The blocks look different. So that's working for me. Now I was taking my accent fabric, and I don't know if you watched another video that I made and I was wondering which accent fabric I was going to use, and this one is the one I discredited straight away. I thought, no, I'm not using that. So I made a couple practice blocks with it and I liked it. So I thought, okay, good thing, I've got plenty of it, I'll just use this up. So naturally what I decided to do when I put these two together was to take my accent fabric and draw my line for my half square triangles that I'm going to make down the middle of my accent fabric. But what I realized was there were 2 problems with that. I couldn't see which way I had the line, and it would have been very easy to sew down along this way. I want to sew across the seams on these blocks, all of them. So what I have decided to do instead is turn them around and put my line down the middle. I hope you can see this, down the middle of the back of the string side of the block. Now I'm using my pencil here, just a pencil, because I'm going to cut on that in a moment. I prefer to sew with them this side up. That way I can keep an eye on what these seams are doing and make sure that they don't get pulled one way or another or bunched up. So now what I'm going to do, I'll sew this down a quarter of an inch each way from this line, on either side of this line, and I generally do them in batches of 10 to 12 or something like that. For today, I'm just going to do this one. All right. So I've sewed down a quarter of an inch on each side, about a scant quarter of an inch. I don't really have to do scant quarter of an inch because I've got enough to trim down here that I don't have to be really accurate. You can cut them with your scissors. I just like using these scissors. I also like the sound of the scissors. I'm going to set the seam and I'm going to press my seams toward my plain fabric. That way I don't pull all these seams back over on top and make more bulk. So setting your seams, there are lovely videos out there for that. I just placed my iron on the seam I just sewed. Let it get nice and toasty. And yes, I use steam. And then a nice press. No swishing of the iron, just a little bit of movement back. Try to move my arm a bit. These camera angles are tricky. Okay, there's a little bit to cut off there, but with strings, you have so many seams and things happening in your block that it's nice to know when you're sewing your half square triangles together at the sewing machine, if they're a little bit off from each other. You know, what I'm talking about is the two pieces of fabric that you're sewing together. If it's a little bit off, you don't have to worry if you know you have this much to trim back. And honestly, for me, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to worry about a little bit of this waste. And what you are going to see is that it's really hard, these lines, to get them really straight when you're going over all the seams. So when I'm cutting these particular half square triangles down, if I have a little bit of bowing here, I'm not going to worry about that, because once I put all the blocks together, put it in a quilt and quilt it, you're not going to see this. What I make sure of is that my corner here and my corner here is at the seam. By making sure these corners are lined up, that will help me to make sure that the blocks come together nicely. So you see, again, I'm just making sure my corner is going to finish right at the seam between the accent fabric and the string block. And that's it. So you've got a little bit of waste and a nice pretty block. So as you can see, I made some large pinwheels in the center. Then I've bordered them with a dark border to frame them. And then I've got this Charlie Brown stripe going all the way around. The next step will be to put another dark border, the same as I've already got, around the stripes, and then I'm going to see where I go from there. This is a medallion style quilt, and well, I'm just going to keep going until I run out of fabric or strings and see how far I get. Let me know in the comments what you think so far, maybe what you do with them, and if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day wherever you are, or evening, and I'll see you soon. Bye.